NFL Wildcard Weekend preview. So, which game would you guys like to start with on the Saturday slate? We got the Seahawks at 49ers
Let's
and
just
the
go in order.
Chargers at Jaguars at 8:15.
Let's go in order.
Let's go in order. Geno
Yeah.
Smith this year broke the Seahawks all-time passing yards record. I was on air saying this team could go to the NFC Championship game about 7 weeks ago, give or take. Before some pretty key injuries, I might add. And for
Before
San
that day.
Francisco, since then, they are on a 10-game winning streak. And I was actually on some, I was doing some little research, and I was on Vegas Insiders yesterday. And I saw Brock Purdy with a plus 1,000% chance of winning MVP. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but that was something I saw. And I could not believe my eyes. I wanted to scourge them. So this is a game for the 49ers where the defense is red hot, going up against a team with two rookie starting tackles. And you've got Nick Bosa, the runaway defensive player of the year on the other side. I think this could be one of the more lopsided games of the weekend. And I like Geno Smith's chances of putting up a fight, maybe writing his own little story. But for this 49ers team, I think Christian McCaffrey, who just won Player of the Month, and George Kittle are going to churn out 200 total yards. Brock Purdy is going to, in his first ever playoff game, get a W. And these 49ers are going to move on to the second round of the playoffs with Jimmy Garoppolo one step closer to returning. For y'all, I'm not sure what the spread is if you can help me out there. Do you think the Seattle Seahawks can surprise some people coming to this game? We had Pete Carroll riding around a scooter this week. The vibes feel a little bit immaculate in Seattle. They're playing with house money here. They're getting a little bit healthier, but not fully. Is there a chance the Seattle team can run a new story and maybe surprise some people here?
Brandon, you want to take this? By the way, spread San Francisco minus 9.5. Can't hear you, Brandon.
Can't believe you guys just let me do that for about a good 30 seconds. It's messed up, man.
I was looking at my phone to see.
It wasn't that long, and I was looking for the spread.
All right. I was saying, ESPN says 10 points. So 9.5, 10 points. But what I was surprised I was just looking at is the San Francisco 49ers defense. While I think we all look at it as probably the best defense in the NFL, they're ranked 17th, I think, 17th in passing yards allowed. So the passing, the defending the pass is a little troublesome, can be, I guess, had for them, but their rushing defense is ranked second in the NFL. The one thing about this game is, so I saw a quote from Pete Carroll, and I forget what it was, but it was along the lines of him basically being like, damn it, we got to play the 49ers, And so I looked back at something the last 2 years, right? So we both know, we all know that the Seahawks this year against the 49ers are 0-2. The first game was a blowout. The second game, I'm forgetting the score off the top of my head. I think it was closer, but the 49ers still won. So I looked back at the past 2 years, the head-to-head matchups. Seattle Seahawks were 4-0 against the 49ers the last 2 years. And it's interesting. I wonder who was the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks when that was happening. Do you guys happen to know the guy's name? I'm drawing a blank here.
Are you referring to Mr. Unlimited?
I'm talking about Russell, last name Wilson, man.
Mr.
All right. So 4-0 against the 49ers. I think if Russell Wilson was the starting quarterback for the Seattle team, is what I'm trying to say, this game would be a lot more closer. I think they probably split with the 49ers this year, if not sweep them. But this game, I see the 49ers winning. I can see them easily winning by double-digit points. I just think that Geno is going to be had. I think Kenneth Walker is probably going to get limited a lot. And I don't think Geno can take advantage of the deficiencies in the San Francisco 49ers passing defense. So that's the main issue with me. So I got the San Francisco 49ers winning.
And it definitely hurts not having Jordan Brooks in this game, who's on IR. It'd be a nice moment to have Jamal Adams back there, or Quadre Diggs and Tariq Woolen, but Adams been on IR the last 3 months. You look at the Seahawks defense, I don't think they have enough horses either to really neutralize the San Francisco attack. One big addition is getting back Debo Samuel last week. Limited pitch count, we get that, but Debo is another playmaker that can, in a split second, completely change a game. And Brandon Ayuk in his absence continue to step up more and more. I just think this 49ers offense is way too explosive, and the job for Brock Purdy is going to be pretty easy. If he's not going to turn over the football, the Seahawks have no chance of winning this football game. You talked about the -10 spread. I would actually take the Seahawks to cover that. I feel like they're going to, later in the game, probably get within a score or so and make it a little bit closer than it's actually going to seem to be. But I'm sorry, Seahawks fans. I can't ride with y'all on this matchup. This is the best team you're playing in the NFC. I think next year for them, with the Broncos' first-round pick and their own first-round pick and the Broncos' second-round pick, will be the season where they take a step forward. You get a little bit healthier. Hopefully you build up that defense, maybe add a weapon or two in the draft. And I think for Seattle, when you extend Geno Smith, because let's be very clear here, Geno has slowed down the second half of the season. But even the second half of the year from Geno was an above-average quarterback. You had an MVP in the first half of the season. Together, you had the best single season in the regular season alone, not the playoffs, that we've seen from a Seattle quarterback. I mean, he led the league, he led the team all time in a single season for passing yards. It was a year where I had them winning 4 games, and rightfully, they over doubled that total. It's because of Geno Smith, man. Respect him. Respect what he did this season. In spite of a ton of injuries and a ton of people doubting him, he had a top 10 season. So maybe I'm overrating him a little bit here. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but the season he just had earned him so much money. So much.
And I'll be honest with you. My reservation with that is we've seen so many one-year wonders in sports. I'm not gonna say that Geno is exactly that, but what he did this year compared to all of his other appearances in the NFL, his 3 seasons with the Jets, his stint with the Giants, it wasn't impressive at all. I don't think he had a season where he threw more touchdowns than interceptions.
Ben McAdoo benched Eli Manning for him and then got
I know
fired
that.
for Geno.
Yeah, but my point is, I don't know if necessarily if I'm the Seahawks, am I gonna jump the gun and say this is our franchise guy? Is this the guy that you believe is gonna lead you to a Super Bowl? Let me say this. Do you guys know how many offensive touchdowns from the offensive side of the ball the Seahawks scored on the 49ers this year?
We'll go with 2.
One.
Let me guess, it was Tyler Lockett.
I don't remember who it was, but they're outside. The other touchdown that they scored was a special teams touchdown, a kick return by Mike Jackson. So this is a team that can't really score on this defense. They're struggling to move the ball downfield. The 49ers, best defense in football, clearly have the recipe to stop the Seahawks. Last game was a little bit closer, a one-possession game. But even going into that, we all knew who was winning that game. Brock Purdy and George Kittle seem to have a special connection. And Christian McCaffrey is probably looking like one of, if not the best mid-season trade of all time. So, I'll go that far. I'll say that if CMC stays healthy, which he has been, the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. And this is just round 1. I think they'll run through Seattle with ease. Like you said, I think the Seahawks cover that -10 spread. But all in all, 49ers are going to take this game. I have no doubt. Like I said, they'll be playing championship weekend.
And real quick, rushing yards for the Seahawks versus the 49ers. Week 2, Rashad Penny had 6 carries for 15 yards. Kenneth Walker had 4 for 10. I feel like they went away from the run too early in that game because they're down from behind early, but still, when you neutralize them like that, they have no chance of putting points on the board. The second matchup in Week 15, Kenneth Walker had 14 carries for 47 yards. 12 carries for 47. They had 14 total as a team. So this is going to be a pretty tough matchup for Kenneth, who had a strong and 3 straight 100-yard games at the end of the season. Next game up, we have, in my opinion, the best game of the weekend, the most exciting, highly anticipated matchup of Trevor Lawrence in Duval County hosting the Los Angeles Chargers and Justin Herbert, two teams with much to prove. One team, quite frankly, playing with house money, while the other had Super Bowl expectations coming into the season. There's a couple of injuries. On the Chargers side, Mike Williams suffered a back contusion last week in their Week 18 game. That's pretty huge for a player like that in this stage of the season. I want to head to you guys. Who will win this game? I have flipped about 3 or 4 times now, back and forth, because of how special these two quarterbacks are.
Decap, you want it?
No, this is your game, Justin. You take it first.
You guys know where I'm going with this game. I don't like to turn tables too much. If I commit to a team, I'm gonna commit to that team. I did it with the 49ers on my AFC side. I've rolled with the Chargers for a while now. For me, what flipped the script was that game against the Miami Dolphins, where their defense was incredible, absolutely making Tua look lost. It was almost like he was seeing ghosts. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna say the Chargers are gonna win this game. I think it'll be a tough one. It'll be a battle. The Chargers really need to start this game off strong. I think both teams really need a good start. I think it's going to be whoever wins the time of possession is going to win this game. Whoever can keep the ball out of the other quarterback's hands the most is going to win this one. I love Justin Herbert, and I think he's just scratching the ceiling here, man. He's going to blow through the ceiling, and we're going to see him shine this postseason. Going into this, you guys told me to find my playoff predictions from earlier in the year. I had an AFC championship game of Buffalo versus the Chargers. And I don't know what it will look like if the Chargers win this game, if that's still possible. But if it is, I'm going to roll with that. I'm going to stick with my guns and say Chargers are going to the AFC championship game. This is step one. They'll roll through the Jaguars and whoever's up next. I really believe in what Justin Herbert can do. I love Keenan Allen. I don't know if Mike Williams is healthy for this game. Do you guys know?
I think he will play at the stakes, but he will be limited.
Okay. And then Austin Eckler has just been an absolute touchdown machine. I think the Jaguars are going to have their hands full. It was a nice story this year, and it's the beginning of something very great for the Jaguars. But the same can be said about the Chargers. This is both Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert's first playoff appearances. It should be a movie, but I'm rolling with the LA boy. I'm going with Justin Herbert.
I want to remind you guys real quick, before you jump in, Brandon, these two guys played earlier in the season in Los Angeles, and it was anything but a movie.
Well, if it was a movie, a horror movie. Because I was just about to reference that game. The score was 38-10 Jacksonville. Now, albeit it was week 3. All right. These teams are completely different from what they were now to what they were then. But just a couple things popped out looking at the box score of this game. One thing is, I don't remember if Austin Eckler got injured in this game or they just completely shut down the run game because he had 4 carries for 5 yards. The entire LA Chargers team, 12 carries for 26 yards rushing. Keenan Allen did not play in this game, so he was not there, and he'll be there this week. But some people that did, Derwin James played, and Joey Bosa was there playing, and Khalil Mack, obviously. Now, here was what Justin Herbert did that game. He was 25 of 45, 297 yards, a touchdown, an interception, a fumble, sacked once, and a 30.1 QBR. Now, let's flip it to the Jacksonville Jaguars side. Rushing-wise, this was when James Robinson was on the team. He had 17 carries for 100 yards and a touchdown. In total, 36 carries, 151 yards, and a touchdown for the Jacksonville Jaguars team. And Trevor Lawrence, 28 of 39, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, no sacks, and a 70 QBR. Now, I lay that out because I do believe now that Travis Etienne is the starting running back, I think that the Jaguars are going to be able to run comfortably on the Los Angeles Chargers. I think that they can I think their defense can cause a little havoc for Justin Herbert. Joey Bosa coming back is big, but also how much of Joey Bosa are we going to get? So for me, when I think about this game in Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken, I think the weather is pretty clear for this game, right? Because I know Jacksonville, yeah, it's going to be 56 degrees, I think partly cloudy. So you're not going to get the Jacksonville weather of heavy rain or anything like that. So it should be a clean game. But I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. I would say it's going to be a lot closer. It's going to be a lot closer than their first matchup in Week 3. I would say it's going to probably be. I think John mentioned this last episode. It's going to be a high scoring game. I would agree. I think both teams could probably get to 30 points. But I have Jacksonville just etching it out.
FanDuel's favoring the Chargers at -2.5.
Yeah, it's a -2.5. I think it's going to be a very close game.
Well, guess who
could
will
see
be
like,
having the sorry.
I could see maybe a game-winning field goal ending this game.
I would agree with you. I think this game, guys, is going to overtime. I think the Trevor Lawrence Justin Herbert matchup will be the game of the week, at least in the NFC. Now, talking about these two defenses, for Jacksonville, they're more vulnerable against the pass. And that's something for this Chargers offense with Keenan Allen, just his presence in the mix really does bode well for them. So we've got two elite quarterbacks and two elite running backs. You flip the sides, and in terms of what defense is better against the run, well, look at the numbers this year, and the Jaguars are about middle of the pack, give or take. The Chargers, they gave up the 5th most rushing yards in football. So Travis Etienne in this matchup could have himself a day, and so could Austin Eckler. So you look at how good these weapons are alongside these receivers, the connection they've built throughout this year. For Justin Herbert, he hasn't had his weapons for most of the season, but in past seasons, I'm going with the Jaguars. I'm rocking with the better head coach, and I'm rocking with the quarterback who I think is closely getting to the level of Justin Herbert. I don't think he's less capable, just a matter of proving it. And this weekend is the week that Justin Fields. This week is the week that Trevor Lawrence establishes himself as a franchise quarterback. It should already be signed and sealed, but if you had any reservations coming off of his rookie year, this is the statement game. Saturday, January 14th. Yep, that's January 14th at 8:15 at TIAA Bank Stadium.
Well, Brandon, you said this game will be decided by a field goal. AFC Special Teams Player of the Month is Chargers kicker Cameron Dicker. So if it's gonna come up to anybody's leg, it's this guy. He was 11 of 12 on field goals this month. He was hot.
Well, I do want to say if John's right and this game does go to overtime, I think this is going to be the first time we're going to see the new rules, overtime playoff rules, where both teams are going to get the opportunity to touch the ball. So it'll be interesting.
A conveniently new added playoff rule just for the highest stakes in games. Fun fact, Jamal Agnew, the much beloved Jaguars kick and punt returner, feels like much more of that fan base. He's from San Diego, which is where the Chargers formerly are from. I thought that was a fun fact.